Hasn't everybody enjoyed this nice balmy day in Cullman, Alabama? And for those of you that are watching online, it has been cold and rainy and windy in Cullman, Alabama for 2 days now. And so wherever you might be, enjoy your weather because we're not enjoying ours. But we welcome you. We're glad that you're here. And what I would like to ask is if everybody would move over to the center section, it'd make it a little bit easier for our guest speakers tonight. So Bennett, you're in charge of moving everybody. And, Bennett, you can do better than that. He just looked at his brother and said, but we'll get everybody settled and get them settled in here. But we're glad that you're here tonight. Normally at this time, we'd be calling on Mary to come up and to lead us in a song, but her throat's not cooperating with her tonight. And we're going to give her the day off because we need her to be well on Sunday. And so we're going to put her on the sick list for a couple of days and let her get well. But it's good to see everybody. And like I said, what we've been trying to do is one time a month, we try to bring in somebody from the community. And we've had some wonderful community guests that have come in. We've had Champ Crocker, the district superintendent. We've had coffee with the cops, and we've had the chief of police and the sheriff, and we've had our neighbor next door that runs the furniture store, and we've just had some wonderful speakers. Well, we've got two wonderful speakers tonight. These are two young ladies that I have just grown to be very fond of because of my involvement with United Way. And I love the United Way. When I worked at Children's Hospital, I'm going to tell you this quick story. When I worked at Children's Hospital, I was called to the CEO's office one day, and he said, "Joe, I've got an assignment that I want to give you." And I said, "Sure," because I'm a team player. I'll do whatever the boss asks me to do. And he said, I'm going to put you on loan to the United Way. And for the next 6 months, you're going to work your job, but you're also going to be working for United Way. And I said, what? And a part of me, I want to be honest with you, part of me felt a little bit indignant. I'm thought to myself, does he not think I don't work hard enough, that I have all this time, that I can just donate my time to the United Way? But it was a life-changing experience. It was absolutely a life-changing experience because not only did I get to work with some incredible people, I saw what United Way did in the community. I saw the lives firsthand that were impacted in our community and who needed the services that United Way offered. And so for 6 months, I was what they called a loaned executive. An executive from another entity, another business that was on loan to United Way. Come the end of that 6 months, I actually was chosen to be the loaned executive of the year. And that's because not only, again, did I get to see it, I poured my life into it because that's what I do. And so when I got asked to help and be a part of the United Way of Cullman County, I believe in what they do. And I think tonight it's going to be good for you to hear from Stephanie Childers, our executive director, and from Taylor Johnson, who works at United Way. You're going to hear from two people who are absolutely incredibly passionate about what they do. And they're going to educate us tonight. I want you to listen carefully to their stories, and I want you to listen to what they do because it's remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable, the work that our little United Way right here in Cullman, Alabama, it's amazing the work that they do. And it's fun to work with these two. They really are very, very, very dedicated, committed, loving people who give of themselves over and over and over again. And so it's a real joy for me to introduce my two friends. And Stephanie's going to come first. So would you make welcome Stephanie Childers tonight?
Good evening. Thank you all for having me here this evening. I am tickled pink to be here. My name is Stephanie Childers, as Pastor Joe just said, and I am honored to have the privilege of serving as Executive Director for the United Way of Cullman County and serving our community. Something about United Way that a lot of people don't know, and I really didn't understand until I started working with United Way, is that each United Way serves their own counties. And for us, we just specifically serve Cullman, and we've just stepped into Winston County to provide them the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And it has been the most overwhelming experience in the best way. Something that I like to talk about too when I talk about this job is before I started here, my little boy had some mental health issues. We had gone through some things, and I got the opportunity to be on a PTO at the Child Development Center, and that kind of spurred me into realizing, getting to talk to all those parents and families about what we have here in Cullman. I did not realize the wealth of nonprofits that we have here to help people. And when I started with United Way, I realized that not only do we have this wealth of opportunity here for the people within our community, but that if I donate, if I contribute to United Way, I'm not just giving to one like I would have been. I'm giving to 18 nonprofits that volunteers in the community, they get to choose who we support. We have a process, an allocation process, where nonprofits here in Cullman, they give us an example of what they want to use funding for. They give us their tax history, and then volunteers like you guys come in and you get to go to their facility. You get to review this paperwork and see exactly where that money's going to go that you're providing. As a United Way employee, I don't get a say-so in how much goes to each one of these nonprofits. That comes strictly from volunteers. And when I realized that, that really spoke to my heart, because I can contribute to United Way and give to every one of these nonprofits. So the ones that we currently have with United Way, we have Cullman Caring for Kids, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. It's our largest food bank here in Cullman County. We support them. And the amount, I think it's $1 provides 5 cans of food. So $1, if I went out and purchased that, would never get 5 cans of food, not right now. So if you donate $1 to United Way, we gift that to them. You can designate funds to each of our individual nonprofits as well. So if you see someone on our list that you're like, I really love Good Samaritan Health Clinic, I'm going to donate to United Way, and I'm going to ask them to send that money directly to them. That's where it will go. However, if you donate that $5 and you're like, hey, I want to support all of these nonprofits, we'll distribute that out every month to help every one of these nonprofits be successful. We also have Hope Horses is one of our agencies. I love them. I love what Kelsey does at her facility. If you're not familiar with that, they help people with disabilities learn to ride horses. It helps them with their physical ability, their mental ability. It's a really fantastic program. If you've never had the opportunity to visit any of these that I'm talking to you about tonight, please let me know and I can get you a tour. They would love to see you. We also have the CCCDD for mentally disabled folks here in the community. Something special about the CCCDD is that when you contribute to United Way, their funding can get doubled or tripled depending on the federal funding that's available at the time. Whereas if you donated that money directly, it would just be $1. If you donate it through United Way and we disperse that to them, it could be $3. So the impact there is really huge, and they are such a great facility. And if you've never been there too, I would recommend it, because talking to Sharice, their director, it's just a ray of sunshine when you walk in there. They are so much fun. They're always laughing and cutting up and having a great time. So we have several different nonprofits under our wing. We cover 4-H. We have the Agriplex, and I'm having to use my cheat sheet because we do have 18. We have First Source for Women, who, if a pregnant woman comes in and she's thinking about maybe not having the baby, they can have a consultation with her. They can do the ultrasound, and they do all of this free of charge. And I think that's really special too. We support Good Samaritan Health Clinic, and if you don't know, if you don't qualify for insurance, they can take care of you there and provide the medicines that you need. We also support Hospice of Cullman County. The Link of Cullman County, if you've never looked into them, they have a host of services. I'm not even going to try to attempt to tell you what all they have there, but they have a food pantry there as well. The Agriplex, we support them, and they do a lot of outreach for students and for the ag side of things, and teaching kids how to do anything from planting a garden to sewing. They just have a host of things there. The Pilot Light Home, that is to support children who are in between foster care. So if there is not enough room with foster parents and DHR doesn't have a place to place them and the Pilot Light Home has a spot, that's where they go for an in-between. So it's a warm bed, it's a family that's there. I really love their program too. Restoring Women Outreach is for ladies who have had addiction issues, who need a little bit of help. They have 4 houses now, I believe, here in Cullman, and their services are fantastic. These women go through this program, and I've had the honor to get to volunteer alongside of them, and to see the way that they progress through the program is really awe-inspiring, and it's really a good opportunity for me personally to be able to witness to people. A lot of those ladies, to hear their testimony and to be able to put that in my pocket and to see how God's moving through their lives, that is hugely impactful. We also have victim services. If you're not familiar with them, that's for abused women and children. They do have the largest facility, I believe, in North Alabama, and what they do there is incredible. And we also support Wallace State's Lion Kitchen, which is fairly new, but it's a food bank at Wallace State that provides food for the students there who may fall in the gap or may not have transportation back home and need something to eat in between classes. They've actually came up with a program that I loved, and where they pack just little grab-and-go boxes to set in the library so that those of us that are too proud to walk into a food bank, they can just snag it from the library and nobody knows any better. And I really think that that's a great way to help people keep that autonomy, to not feel shame for having to reach out, because a lot of people won't go get help because they're afraid of what everybody else will think. And we're trying to help curb that. We want everybody to know that there is help here, that it's okay to go get it, and we encourage it, and that's what we're here for. We also provide 211, and a lot of you may or may not know about it, but I didn't know about it until I started with United Way, and it is a fabulous resource. So 211, United Way of Cullman County, we pay for it here in our area, and what it is a resource. If you have an emergency, if you need for food or for housing assistance, any of that, you can dial 211 just like you would 911, and they're going to ask for your zip code, and they're going to tell you all of the nonprofits that are available in your area. And the interesting thing about that I love is that a lot of people here in Cullman County don't want to call and talk to somebody over the phone about their needs because they're afraid, well, what if they know that I'm so-and-so? And the stigma that comes with that, they just don't want to talk a lot of times. And I have found that with those people, if you'll give them that number and they call it, they're getting those resources, because they don't have that fear that somebody's going to find out that they're struggling. So 211 is a really huge and impactful thing that we provide with United Way. And we also support the Red Cross, and if you're not familiar with Red Cross's mission, they help in aid when you have house fires. I think they helped 25 house fires last year, provided them a place to stay for a night or two, and helped them get back on their feet. So what they have is really, really huge as well. The need in our community with these nonprofits is so much greater than what I had realized when I started with United Way. Some of the things that we support too, like Meals on Wheels. So I'm going to tell a little bit of a story. Meals on Wheels, I didn't realize how much that people feel isolated and alone. And I didn't realize how impactful Meals on Wheels was until we had the ice back a few months ago, and people couldn't get out of their homes. People couldn't get to these folks. And we had people call. We also help with a program called VOAD. It's Volunteer Organizations Active in Disaster. And we had some volunteers that were willing to drive their four-wheel drives to people who needed help. But we had people who their cabinets were bare after 3 days. And they were expecting Meals on Wheels to show up, whether there was ice or snow or trees down. Like, they had to have it. They didn't have food otherwise. And to know that we were able to step in with our volunteers to connect with some local food banks and to be able to get that food out to them, that was really incredible to me. It was really incredible not just to see what our nonprofits are capable of as a unit with United Way, but it was really impactful to see our community come together in that way. I don't think a lot of people in Cullman realize just how blessed we are with this community that we have. We have such a loving, caring group of people here. I have been to other counties where it struggles. It struggles because they don't care for their neighbors in the way that we do. And y'all should be very proud of that. Very proud of that. And I think that reflects a lot to the churches in our community and how we steward the people. But it's been this career, this job, this isn't just a career or a job for me. This has been a calling for me. And I can say that from a place of truth and honesty, because I've told Taylor, and I think I've told Pastor Joe before, that if 12-year-old little girl me could look back and see what we are now, she would be so proud, so proud. Like, God just put it on my heart to care for people. And I am blessed to have this position and to be able to come and talk to folks like you about how you're impacting the community. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that every single dollar that you donate through United Way stays here local. It helps your neighbors. It helps those people that I was talking about that we volunteer and go out and reach out to. And it can't be done without you. It just can't. And I just want you to know that anything that you do for United Way is hugely appreciated. Even if you can't afford to contribute, we have volunteer opportunities. And something that I like to share with people, because people think, well, I don't have time or it's not worth a whole lot. Do you know what the national average for a volunteer hour is right now? How much it's worth monetarily to a nonprofit? $37 an hour. That 1 hour is worth $37 to a nonprofit. That's how impactful that hour's worth of time is. And not only that, but you're getting something out of it too, because I can't say that I have ever volunteered anywhere and not went home and been like, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I did that. But I'm going to give Taylor a second to come up here and talk more about our volunteerism, because that's her wheelhouse. She is our marketing extraordinaire. Her official title is a mouthful. It's Resource Development and Outreach Manager, but she's killing it. She does a wonderful job. She is fantastic, but I'm going to hand it over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much for having me here tonight. Honestly, I can back Stephanie on everything that she had to say about this organization. A little bit about my story with United Way is I never knew about United Way till I was 27 years old. Lived in Cullman County my entire life, never heard about it. A little bit of my testimony is I grew up on food stamps and Medicaid. There was times where my family did without food, running water, and electricity for very short time spans. Thankful for churches that stepped in and helped, or our neighbors that had a garden. But if we would have known about United Way, there's resources here in our community that we could have benefited from years ago. So whenever I found out about United Way of Cullman County, I went to my very first community meeting at the Link and found out about these resources. I was overwhelmed and could not, when I got in the car with Stephanie, I was boo-hooing because I'm like, why did I not know that this was in our backyard? Little Taylor wanted to grow up and do mission work. I always thought that being a missionary, you had to do it abroad or you had to have money to do it, and it's right here in your backyard. And I never realized that until I found out about United Way. So another thing is growing up, I never thought about being a resource development outreach manager for a nonprofit organization, because whenever you're in school, you grow up and you have people come into your school and teach you about careers, and you're like, oh, I'm going to be a nurse, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a teacher. You don't hear about choosing nonprofit world as a career very often. So I've had the privilege this year of getting to go into the schools and talk to kids about jobs with purpose, and I absolutely love it. I've gotten to speak to the seniors at West Point High School recently about finding a job with purpose and finding your calling in life and figuring out who you are and doing it on purpose. And through this job, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work, and I'm said that in front of my boss, but I truly enjoy it. I go to work and it feels like I'm getting to fulfill my calling. Something that I'm very passionate about is literacy, and we have Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. We just stepped into Winston County with this program, and the entire state of Alabama is now covered by Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Winston County was one of the last ones to come on board. I love getting to advocate for that. I've gotten to go into schools recently and do readings and talk to the students and the teachers about the resources and the volunteer opportunities in our community. There's been students that have come to me and say, hey, I need volunteer hours to where I can put those on applications for college and for scholarships. Absolutely, call me. I'll get you put in one of our agencies, or I'll have you help me in my office. I've had several, actually at the end of this month, I'll have a couple of students come in and job shadow me, one from West Point and one from Fairview. And I love getting to, because I feel like whenever they come into my office, I get to plant a seed. And I've never had an opportunity to do that before until this job. With always wanting to do mission work, I didn't think that I could have a job that actually, it covers every aspect. It covers education, it covers health, restoration and renewal. It covers the basic services. It touches every single aspect. And I feel like in every single person in this room, United Way can benefit you in some way, even if it's just our Seeing is Believing tours. Even while working for United Way, I've learned so much on these tours. And I honestly wish there was some way that we could get students into these Seeing is Believing tours, because it's really eye-opening to see how these nonprofits are ran, what they do here in our community. You don't know what you don't know. And so I learn something new every single day at United Way. I really don't have much to say because Stephanie covered it so great, besides the fact that I'm so thankful and blessed to have this job. If there's anyone that has not heard about United Way, my number one thing is advocating. Of course, we want you to donate, but I also want you to share the good news that we're here, because I don't want a single person here in Cullman County to go without knowing the resources they have right at their fingertips, because I was that person, my family was that family that we didn't know. But now that I know, I want to share the good news. So please tell everybody about United Way. Thank y'all.
Well, now you can see why I'm so excited about having the privilege of working around these two wonderful people. They really are passionate about what they do, and they do it so well. And so I'm going to put them on the spot. And does anybody have any questions to start with about the United Way of Cullman County and where your dollars go? Because that's really important. One of the things, our finance committee is meeting as we speak. And one of the things that I talked to them about just a minute ago is that, ever since I've been here for 8.5 years now, we have always given money to local agencies. And some of the agencies that we've supported is First Source for Women. And obviously every month we take food down to Cullman, the food bank, Cullman Caring for Kids. And for years we've supported the Good Samaritan Clinic. And so we take a little bit of money there and a little bit of money here and a little bit of money here. And what I'm thinking would be the best utilization of our resources is if we could support one agency who in turn could support 15 agencies that we couldn't support all 15, but we would. We would, because that's what United Way does. So I think it's important that you know where your dollars go. And so it's a real joy for me to be a part of this. One of the things that we said, what's it called, the allocation committee? They're constantly looking for, if you want to volunteer, you have an opportunity. You could serve on the allocation committee, and these are the committee because it's volunteers just like yourself who will make the determination and the recommendation to our board that we think that we ought to do this. I remember I was on the allocations committee several years ago when it was the first time that the Dolly Parton Imagination Library had requested to become an agency. I was on that committee, and I was one of the ones who reviewed their application. And it's incredible because, Taylor, come back for just a second. Tell them what that program does. You know, for our educators that are here tonight, you got to hear this. This is pretty incredible. Tell them what. I feel like a midget next to man. She walked out and said, Taylor, tell them what this program does.
Well, I was hoping Dr. Shane Barnett would be in here for this, but I'm so happy to share it with all of y'all. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library puts the books into the hands of every child in the county that's covered. If you register them, they have to be registered, and it's a very simple process. I will help you with it if your child is not registered. From birth to age 5, they get a book with their name on it once a month, and it's free. Of course, we do the fundraising for it, and it is sponsored by Cullman Electric Cooperative. They help fund this program, but we also have to have donations from people like you to get these books to children. Winston County, we just stepped into Winston County for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. It's a different world over there. Some of these kids have never had a book in their hand, and to know that they now have a book in their hand with their name on it and it's theirs. Literacy is so important. And a lot of people, when they hear Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, they're like, oh, that's an amazing program. Dolly gives away free books. Dolly doesn't, but we love Dolly. And she created this program so where we can help fundraise and get the books into these babies' hands. I think that's about it, though, when it comes to Dolly. Oh, yeah, if you want to sponsor a child for a year of books for one child, it's $35 to sponsor a child. And we can give you more information on Dolly in April, I believe. If you want more information on Dolly for Cullman County, in April we'll have more information. But for Winston County, if you want to sponsor a kid, let us know. We would love to help you with that.
Another thing that they do that's a lot of fun is they do a fundraising event every year. And for you ladies that are here, you might want to hear this. Every year they do a fundraising event, and it's called, come on, Designer Bag Bingo. And your pastor was one of the servers. I was the Vanna White of one of the many Vanna Whites last year walking around with a pocketbook and telling people that this was a great event. I personally purchased a table and then invited some of the ladies of our church, and they went and they had a great time. All right, Stephanie, tell them about Designer Bag Bingo.
All right. So Designer Bag Bingo is our largest fundraiser that we do for United Way. We have several wonderful vendors here in town that donate purses for us. This past year we had some Louis Vuittons, which I didn't realize were $3,000 handbags. I'm a Walmart purse girl, so this was a whole new thing for me. But it is a really fun night. We get those handbags in, we play bingo to win them, And we just have the best time. We have dinner catered in. We get to talk to everybody about what United Way does. We also have a Women's United group. If any of you ladies would want to be a part of that, it's a group of women that come in and help volunteer. And their focus usually mainly is for literacy and children's and women's nonprofits. So whatever is raised under y'all's belt is what goes to those nonprofits. They assisted us with designer bag bingo this year, and it was hands down the best we've ever had. We raised almost $40,000 that went right back to all the nonprofits right here in Cullman, which is phenomenal. We had over 500 women attend. It was fantastic. We had Chat and Chew cater, and it's just a really fun night to come to. And it's really neat to see everybody get in there and just have such a good time, because you'll see all kinds of different people from different walks of life. Because while our tables are a little bit pricey, our single tickets we try to keep at a reasonable rate so that anybody in the community can come, because we want it to be a community event, because that's what United Way is about, was bringing community together. We also have coming up next Friday, is it next Friday? It's quick. We have a crawfish boil. So if any of you like to have crawfish, we have a crawfish boil coming up. It'll be held at Goat Island Brewery. We do have Hank's Bar and Grill. They provide all the crawfish for us, which is fantastic. So it's a really fun night. Come out and eat some crawfish. It's all you can eat. I think he's got some things he's going to throw in there special this time too, to add to it. We also have pickleball. We're going to have a pickleball tournament. So if any of y'all play pickleball, we're doing that coming up in June. Come on, Joe, you can come play pickleball. Yeah, so I tried to go do that this weekend. I took my two boys. My littlest fell going to retrieve a ball that went outside of the thing and cracked his kneecap. 1% chance that you can do that, and of course that's what he does. But we had a fun time up until that point. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to that. That's going to be a good time. We also have a fun run, a Dolly fun run that we're trying to plan for September. So that will be, I'm super duper excited about that. We're going to do that. Well, we're still working on location, aren't we? Okay, tentative location. But the fun run is going to be where we're going to have different age groups. And the oldest, like the age group, probably 18 and up, will be dressed like Dolly Parton. So that should be pretty fun to watch them running on a fun run. But we've decided the entry fee for that will be $35 a person, because that covers one child for a year. And, we are so excited about that one. Our young professional board came up with that idea, and I just think it's going to be hilarious. We're looking forward to that. But, yeah, and then our designer bag bingo is always in November. This year will be November 13th, so mark your calendar for that. We hope to see y'all there. I'm trying to think of anything else that... That is your road, ma'am.
So something that we also have is our Young Professional Board. We're working on the bylaws on it to where we can do it a little bit younger, because I believe it's sitting at age 21 to 35 right now. And we would love to have some more college students part of that. Our Young Professional Board is a great way for young professionals to network and also have fun while giving back to community. Our Young Professional Board, they put on our crawfish bowl every year. Last year we raised $14,000 in one night. And these are people that work at Walmart DC and HR. We have J.D. Isbell from State Farm. I mean, when I say young professional, it's all backgrounds. We're a couple of oddballs in the group, but I absolutely love our Young Professional Board, and they have a lot of love and passion. So if you know somebody that's from the age of, right now it's sitting at 21, but I hope to see that back up a little bit to age 35 that would be interested in being part of our Young Professional Board. We would absolutely love to have them. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, that wasn't held through us. I'm not.
Bosom Buddies.
Yeah, I think Bosom Buddies puts that on. Yes, they did that as well. Yeah, yeah. They're a really good organization too. Does anybody else have any questions for us?
Another thing that we have started doing recently is we've started going into the schools and talking to the kids about social media and how it affects you as a child and through high school and also after high school. It can be for good or bad. In my case, I actually got my job with United Way due to my social media because of me doing marketing, designing Christmas cards and stuff, and Stephanie reached out to me about this job opportunity. I like to tell people that this job found me. It's definitely a God thing. I believe God put this job in my path for a reason. But whenever I go into school and I talk to the kids about this digital citizenship, it's just a promise to only post for good on social media, the pros and cons of what your employers are going to see. I've went into West Point and Cullman High School both to talk to the kids about this, and I've had a lot of really good feedback for it. So if there's any other schools that y'all know of that would want me to come in and talk to them about digital citizenship and just trying to be mindful with social media, because it's very easy to get persuaded to do things you're not supposed to do, and just represent yourself well, and not just yourself but your community.
Give them an idea of what the makeup of the United Way board is, so that they have an idea of how many different types of professionals are involved with the board.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So our United Way board is very multifaceted. We have several different ladies and gentlemen on there from different walks of life. We have Pastor Joe, who is here. We have Reverend Matt Smith, who is with Eastside Baptist. He's on our board. We also have some vice presidents of local banks. We have attorneys. We have several HR managers on our board. Trying to remember what everybody. Yeah, we have a representative from Cullman County Schools. We have a representative from Cullman City Schools. We have Wallace State Community College.
I'm trying to think, there's a bunch.
We have several board members, which is great. Yeah, we have Realtors Association represented on our board. Yeah, Rahal, Rahal, Walmart Distribution. Yeah, I've got Topray on the brain. Coca-Cola. Yeah, Coca-Cola is a big one. We have a lot of good ones on our board, though. And it's really interesting the way that United Way works and how we move through the community, too. Going back to our allocations process, because that's coming up soon, in the next few weeks probably. But if any of you have the opportunity to volunteer for that, I would highly recommend it. If you don't have the opportunity for that, I'm going to try to plan a Seeing is Believing tour, where we go out and we tour the nonprofits that are underneath United Way. And I will echo what Taylor said. When you walk into those nonprofits, if you've never been in before, it's really life-changing. The amount of work that these people pour into this community is awe-inspiring. We love what we do, and I think I can speak for most of the executive directors and employees of other nonprofits that are underneath our United Way belt, that they all truly, genuinely have a passion for what they do. And I would love for you all to take that opportunity to just walk in those doors and see that passion shine through, because it's really incredible.
Thank you. That means a lot to hear that, because there's a lot of times that what's hilarious I find is that now that I'm out of the house and my sister's out of the house, my parents, they're flourishing. They have insurance, and it's great, and it's because kids are expensive. It's like I get it now. Actually, a part of my testimony is I worked in pharmacy for 7 years. And went through a transition where I wasn't allowed to work, and I started doing my graphic design stuff and designing Christmas cards and doing all kinds of marketing for people. And Stephanie reached out to me about this job opportunity at United Way. I was like, wow, I've never even heard of United Way. Like, I feel like this is a God thing. And I was married at the time, and I told my husband, I was like, I feel like this is a God thing. I need to take this job. And I said no to the job. Stephanie came back to me again with food. She took me to lunch. So, of course, I said yes to the job. And my husband left me a month later. And it has been the hardest thing that I've ever done, but this job has been the biggest blessing in my life, so thank you. Because I have 2 little kids, and they're watching Mama do it all, and it is hard, but because of you saying things like that, it makes me realize that I have found my purpose, so thank you.
And she's amazing. She's going to cry about it now, and it'll be okay. She really is amazing, and I do appreciate the compliments for her because she has really blossomed this year. I'm going to brag on her for a minute if that's okay. She's really blossomed this year, and she's not going to tell y'all about this, but she just published a children's book, and it is phenomenal, and I'm very proud of her for reaching for her dreams and not letting anything stand in her way.
It's called Finley and Her Purple Glasses. It's about a little girl in my little boy's preschool class at Harmony. She inspired me to write because I had to get glasses when I was a kid and was bullied for it. So it's kind of about coming over bullying and finding self-confidence and being different. Yes. Well, not in Cullman yet. I have a book launch. My knees are shaking. I have a book launch at the end of this month at Ren and Revel in downtown Cullman in the Warehouse District, but it is available for sale right now on Amazon. Yes, ma'am.
I've already talked to her. I would like to have her come back. I'd like to have her come back and even read the book. I mean, we've got a wonderful children's ministries here, and it would be an awesome time for Taylor to get connected with our children's ministries and maybe take the time on a Wednesday night and get all the kids together and read the book for them. I mentioned a minute ago about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, the year that they requested to become a United Way agency. And I think it was just the way that God works. That was part, I had 5 agencies that requested that we had to do interviews with, and when they came into the room for us to interview them, it was just, there was a bond there, because I believed in, Taylor keeps using the word literacy. Obviously, I love books, and I read all the time. I love to read, and I've got a whole room full of books. But I think what really resonated with me, again, when I worked at Children's Hospital, all of the administration of Children's Hospital was required to participate in a monthly program in Birmingham called RIF. Reading is fundamental. And Children's Hospital would buy books. I don't know where they bought them all from. And then each of the administrators, each of the administrative team was required to go out into a school. And we would do them with pre-K, 4-year-olds, pre-K or kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And we would take these books and we would read the books to the class. And then each of the kids in the class, and I can remember getting down on a mat and reading some of these books to a kindergarten group or a first grade class. But then each of the kids would get a copy of the book. And some of those kids would look at you and say, is this mine to keep? I've never owned a book. And the first time a child told me that, I've never owned a book, I was hooked. And I thought, what a great program. So when the Dolly Parton Imagination Library requested to become a part of the United Way of Cullman County, I thought, man, we got to get this going. We have got to get this going, because I would never want a child. I mean, I look at little Brooks back there, and I would never want a child to be able to go through life and say, I've never owned a book. Because reading really is fundamental. If we can teach a child to read, and we've got great teachers in our church, great teachers, but if we can teach children to love reading, to love books, their future is going to be so much brighter down the road. And so, Taylor, we're proud of you, and we do want you to come back and do a little reading program with us. You can read that child's book to us maybe on our Wednesday night. Speaking of her side ability, you remember when we did the elevator and we did a little capital campaign. All of the material that was done, this young lady did it all for us. She did a great job, and so for that, we are truly thankful. All right, any other questions? Do you have anything else you want to ask these good people?
It depends. It depends on who applies. So we have an open application process every year, and whomever applies, then we put them into their category, whether it's restoration and renewal or health services, basic services, and then the volunteers that come out go and review them. And if there's duplicate services, say if Cullman Caring for Kids came in and then another food bank came in as well, then it's up to the volunteers to see to decide which one is most impactful for our community and would be the best place for us to invest our money. And we go off of that. That's how we choose our nonprofits. Any other questions? We don't have one under United Way right now.
We do advocate for them,
Yeah.
though. Even though they're not a partner agency, we make sure the community knows that those resources are there.
And we would love to see them apply. We just haven't seen the application for it, but we would love to have them be a part. Any other questions? No?
Well, Brother Shane, why don't you come? And I know you have, Shane has served on this United Way board. He's not on it now. I don't think I took his place, but I'm on it now, and he is not. But he has, you served, what, about 4 years? 6 years he served on the United Way board. So he knows firsthand that what they have shared with us tonight is a fact. And he knows firsthand because they love getting into the school system. Well, they couldn't get into the school system if the superintendent didn't allow them. And again, the impact of what United Way does with 15, 16 agencies, 18 agencies, the impact of what they do is phenomenal. Our church could never support 18 different agencies, but we could support one in a very big way that ends up supporting 18. Pretty good return on the dollars. So Shane, because you've been a part of this, I'm going to ask Stephanie and Taylor if they'd come back. And I think it would be nice if you would just close the service in prayer and pray for them specifically, because it's not an easy job. You know, times are hard, and sometimes when times are hard, companies can't give as much. Churches can't give as much. And so we've never supported United Way as a church. But I just talked to the finance committee about it. And again, I think it's an opportunity for us during hard times to make a difference in our community. And so, gals, I want you to know I'm proud of you. And I thank God for both of you. You're a blessing, and you're making a huge impact in this community. And I just want to say thank you. Let's give them a hand, and then Shane's going to pray.
I will say very quickly, I probably have 100 requests every year to get in front of my teachers and ask them for money and things like that. And United Way is the only group that I consistently let get in front of my teachers at Institute and share for a few minutes, because I believe in what they do. And you know, and a lot of people, if you go home tonight and you Google United Way on a national platform, you're going to see some things that you may not agree with. But the percentage used to be really close to 100% of the money that stays right here. And I don't know what that exact percentage is now, but it was in the 90s, and everybody needs to know that. So when somebody says something about, well, I don't like because they support blah, 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 from a city that they moved from or something like that, but our United Way is a little different, and they support things that we would support, and that feels really good to know that your money, when you donate to United Way, it's going to something really to help the neighbors next to you. And that's really exciting. I appreciate y'all doing that. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for our local United Way and the leadership there and their commitment. I mean, as it is for our teachers, it's a calling and it's a ministry for them. And I pray that you bless them personally and be with their families. And as Satan tries to attack them in their personal lives or in their professional lives, I pray you just shield them and just give them a special blessing and let them know that what they're doing makes a difference, and what they're doing is changing lives and changing this cycle of dependency that we have for so many years here in Cullman. And I just thank you for their dedication. I thank you for their board, and I pray you just touch their board and just continue to be with the ministries. And may this year be a banner year for them as far as people donating and supporting and volunteering. And we just pray you just be with our community as they continue to serve it. We just thank you for them speaking tonight, and we pray you just continue to bless them. Give us all a wonderful week, and we ask these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.